Lagos.
Knowledge is power. Information is key. And that is 98.3 FM from 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. as we invoke the thought-provoking discussion, tackle the tough questions, challenge assumption, and give a voice to the unheard. This is the Morning Express on Mainland 98.3 FM.
Welcome on board.
Listening to the Morning Express on Mainland 98.3 FM.
Good morning.
Beautiful and lovely Tuesday morning, the 23rd day in the month of September 2025. Good morning to you wherever you're locked on to this frequency known as Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. Morning Express it is, that run through from 5 a.m. to 11 a.m., which definitely encompasses several contents which you would definitely not want to miss for you while you're going on your daily activity every morning. We're ready to let our shoulders be worth riding on every morning to take you through, keep you updated, keep you abreast of happenings in our dailies, just to give information and bring it to your doorstep, as you can always trust Mainland 98.3. Peruse the pages of our dailies, our newspapers, majorly the Punch, the Vanguard, the Guardian newspaper, to see what's going on right in them and to let you know what's also going on. I had a couple of stories that have made it through the papers this morning. My name is Tʀᴇ Akinyosoye. We'll be giving analysis to that as well. So while we are bringing them on board, we give better understanding, perspective to this issue, so that we can better understand this development or news stories, be it political, be it business, be it health, socio-economic, whatever it is, education, sports. We'll bring it on board just to let you know what's going on. You're welcome once again. And of course, you can listen. You can join, so you can listen via Radio Garden. Just go to your Apple or Play Store and search or type www.mainlandfm.com, and then you get to join the conversation at every point in time. You're joined by Side Forward, and we get started without further ado. Hello, Side Forward. Good morning.
Yes,
Closing. Yeah, so good morning. Welcome on board, Side Forward.
Thank you for having me.
Thank God it didn't rain today again this morning. Prediction earlier this week that were at least from Monday to I think 3 days, rains and thunderstorms. It's been safe. Side Forward, we're getting reports now, here especially that we can take to from the haters, the Punch that have been affected by this predictions from this agency. And Nasarawa, Bauchi and Jigawa have definitely now even intensified their campaigns to avert flood crime. That we now have no fewer than 232 persons which had followed the flows that have swept through parts of the country, as at the flood 2025 flood dashboard now shows that at least 339,658 people also recorded some form of losses, with 6 recording in 7 states, with Niger State accounting to death toll to 232, which is quite unfortunate. We have been clamoring and talking about this, just to 51 people being affected and 3,680 displaced. 66 other states, Imo and all of Taraba and all of that rivers, Abia, being given as the NEMA identified. NEMA identified food, shelter, health services, water and sanitation and livelihood support as most of the urgent needs of the victims, affected as at this time. And in the aftermath of the floods, the agency which is the most pressing challenge that they are facing, amounting to more than 50%, precisely 68% of flooded communities rather, which is for the rescue teams and even the relief materials to get to the victims. Also security risks, the agency has also, while community resistance, amounting to 7%. So in some communities faced by the agency to mitigate this issue. Side Forward.
Well, Well, this one have caught us unaware. We talked about it severally, hoping that at the state level, there would have been some concerted effort preparing. It's unfortunate that we have this number of persons who have lost their lives, but it is what it is, and we hope that now there could be some form of response to, attend to the needs of those who are still alive. You told me that, we started the show by you telling me, thank God it's not raining today. But I just told you that, look, the weather is gathering again, not even having it heavy. In other parts of the country, the rains are coming heavy. Some of these rivers bursting their banks in them. And so the impact is still going to be massive, whether we like it or not. So whatever can be done now, NEMA is giving its own report. The state emergency response, anyone and everyone that can help should be rallied at this point, to begin to help people so that we don't have maybe next year there will be better response, better preparation. Now, you remember that I think sometime last year there was this problem of Niger State.
Yes.
If you remember, there was again. It's surprising to see that Niger State tops the list of casualties. Anybody can say really. We said almost everything that can be said about the need to prepare for this time, and it's unfortunate.
From the Punch newspaper, precisely, you see that on page 12. Let's also growth, and of course, that has also been greeted with efforts so far that this administration, the policies that have been made so far, on year in real terms in the second quarter of this year, according to the latest figure that has been released, which was released yesterday by the NBS last year, showing that the economy had followed the rebasing of GDP using 2019. Growth rate is higher than the 3.48% recorded in the second quarter of last year. But definitely senior officials especially of the Nigerian Labour Congress, that the figures you are putting out, not relatively the reality that an average Nigerian is facing, which of the economy is stabilizing. Even an average Nigeria is saying all these figures or increasing figures after rebasing and all of that have not captured. What do you see this as still one of the good news of the administration? Because, the figures and what's the reality.
It's just a common sense issue. It's not indices, metrics, and methods. And like you've also highlighted, which standard as the base year, we do this calculation. So that we don't get our people confused about all of these data, metrics, with methods and data, begin to project what is not real. For me, it's about the living standards of the people. I'm sure on common sense theory, that does not have common sense in it, does not make any sense at the end of the day. The reality of the people is at variance with the data the government is giving us. Inflation data is so, like the Nigerian Labour Congress is saying, you guys are just churning out beautiful data. But go out there and check whether they accept with them that truly the GDP has grown by 4.3%. We try to accept. So there's no, because this is from the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. Right. So we accept it. Despite the fact that, look, these things are coming as a result of this not going out at all. I've seen some sites, some people who have been doing the job, to set an agenda we know, because it's the job we are trained to also do. So it's not a problem. What has been the impact on the living standards of the people?
The NBS should be ashamed of themselves just rebasing and
giving. No, they are doing their job. It's not being ashamed.
Well, it's not for.
The data is coming because, again, jumble economic tests. The data is good. We are saying. What about the living standards of the people? And the data that does not impact the people, does it make any sense?
Well, might seem to be useless because of not having.
No, it's not by my. The data is in itself is useless. Even though we are explaining that inflation does not mean prices are not still rising. The rate at which prices are rising is what they have said has gone down. Astronomically so.
Right.
So I'm not going to go into that's why I say we've.
Well, page newspaper. Well, still moving ahead, let's quickly take a trip to the River State Governor Siminalayi Fubara at the presidential benefactor. He also noted that proper peace has returned after the meeting with President at the Aso Rock Villa in Abuja of peace and cooperation. According to him, he said, as far as he's concerned, let me quote him now, his estranged predecessor and the current minister of for FCT FCT, Nyesom Wike. And he also reviewed that his his suspension and those of the key political leaders of the state, which had restored the offices of the governor, the deputy governor, and even the house of the vice admiral to take charge for 6 months. Meanwhile, Fubara yesterday, also lamented the huge economic opportunities that have been lost due to the according to him, deregulation to miss out on jobs, on investment, and even industrial growth. And he also stated that on a courtesy visit to the government house in Port Harcourt.
Again, when we see elected officials,
democracy at risk.
Who resumed after the legal suspension? So you have to go and tell the president, I have resumed though. Can I go on, sir? President, sir, I have resumed, sir. Abi?
Yeah, it was the president that declared state of emergency and suspended the governor. So, and then he called.
You can see that the thing said is for elected official, somebody that was elected by the people, constitutionally so. So the man was telling that you have resumed. So you just went to resume. You don't know what to go there and tell him going straight to your office. You want us to continue democracy. And when we talk about when you begin to find about how badly appointees of the president, the same thing we see with the National Assembly, who instead of declaring their allegiance, have voted them there. And so they are so happy to wear the cap with the insignia of the president. They are so happy to sing. And then it's all about how they say democracy is the government of the people, by the people. They didn't say democracy is about one man that has got the power to control that he has resumed. Didn't you say you have to tell him that he has resumed though? Or what did he go and the people of Rivers State to vote for him as governor? He had no idea on how to govern the state. He was so clueless. He had no idea. There was no brain in his head on one corner in him. No? You don't understand what I'm saying? They subdued him completely. So maybe
the first step, not even think about your second step enough.
When they clip all your will of the day, like people say, this is just a lame duck governor. What would he do? That's what it is. The man is talking about ports who are in the South region. So, but deceiving ourselves to have a democracy
game that we're playing in the country.
Very dirty one like that. Very dirty game.
Captures that in the Punch and also the Guardian. I'm sure it's across newspapers this morning. Page 3 captures that in the Guardian newspaper. Speaking about, following a president or following someone, give clarification with the earlier submission of especially the Speaker of House of House, or he raised alarm about debt profile being, in a question. Or the National Assembly is not opposing the president's borrowing policy that gave the assurance yesterday in Abuja when he was delivering the keynote address at the 8th Annual African Network of Paramilitary. His remark definitely had followed, media reports suggesting that the legislature was on consultation of public account committees where the Nigeria's debt to GDP ratio of the 52% above the 40% statutory threshold was highlighted. He stressed that borrowing, when carefully applied, remains a globally recognized fiscal instrument. And he also explained that the president had assured from the fresh borrowings are going to be channeled into, priority sectors. Like basically, it's just saying that, the legislature window has been closed, but definitely will channel the side forward.
Well, the Speaker Tajudeen is not going to change anything. You understand what I'm saying? Because again, I'm sure that there's been some internal backlash, thresholds that we had surpassed, and that it was becoming a problem. And a borrowing pattern saying that, look, we're already overshooting reasonable thresholds. And of course, but the borrowing pattern keeps growing up. Again, we might not be borrowing up. You understand what I'm saying? So if he's now saying that, he's saying that everything is okay, we can continue to borrow. It's just an attempt to be problematic and concerning. So it's not about Tajudeen about telling us what we know.
Anyways.
And he cannot by his own denial of what he said.
Your words are like...
So the reality is that the speaker should not bother himself. There's no need really. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
trying to really walk back what they have said before.
Well, that's area, regardless of a statement coming from some, accusing the federal government of double standard, especially with the issue on ground. Now, the lawmaker, which is representing Kogi Central Senator, described the criminal defamation charges filed against her as a brazen act, the dismissal of the to file charges, against her based on the complaint bill. And of course, the charges by Pabio and the ex-Kogi State Governor, Yahaya Bello, over the remark that she drawn national attention with many opposition. So in her defense yesterday, she filed preliminary objections before the has no locus standi to prosecute. These were unconstitutional, they were frivolous and designed to enforce and media commentary. Noting that prosecuting her statement as crimes, double standard, alleging that opposition then hastily then filed charges against her, so she can over opposition political affiliation, and in the Senate to the United Nations, accusing the Senate leadership of
we met the courts. So, but again, I think there's some idea of deliberately criminalizing issues of defamation, accusation of defamation. A subject in this matter, to the point where it has now become a criminal matter. They have defamed me. They ensure that they criminalize it using it cyber crimes. More of Yahoo and no manner of internet fraud. But the aspect that just talks about the police gets involved. In fact, they even add threat to life to it. We saw the Fᴜဃᴜ case, for example, a classic case that was supposed to be a case of defamation. Not going to that the court will deal with the Natasha matter. She has senior advocates of Nigeria representing her. So really, defamation cases are supposed to be a civil matter are now made criminal just to that's continue to behave like this. It is a defamation. Institute legal proceedings against the person. You understand? You don't so that we harass, we intimidate, we lock him up. We what Yemoli said. Natasha was not arrested because again, there's going to be an outcry. There's going to be the outrage that will come with it. But you have to be granted bail on self-arrest. So, we see, us messing everything up. We are not ready to. They just want to run this country aground. Of defamation has now become a criminal thing. It's not a criminal matter.
I mean, I don't know.
So those ones are fellow. You don't even understand what they are saying. Even lawyers among them cannot even interpret clearly what the courts are saying. So when it even comes to matters like these, if you saw the judgment, the judgment was just fellow.
So across board, the Guardian also captures that page 30 precisely. The coronation rites begin with prayers. Of pushing for a third term in office, as now civil society leader Dr. Usman Bugaje, who was speaking at a democracy dialogue hosted by Goodluck Jonathan Foundation in Ghana last week. I would say that I called the program yesterday. Bugaje, who's the former president's alleged ambition, saying that I can confirm to you, I want to call you so. Now the fact that he did not take a telephone to make a particular call to anybody is not sufficient to stay at night, and many of us were threatened by his own agent. So he recalled how some lawmakers allegedly suffered intimidation. He cited Senator a decisive gathering was held. No, you don't need to. We know.
Very, very difficult for the former president Olusegun Obasanjo. With some of us very young practicing journalists at that time, just out of school. And we knew what happened there. In fact, when they had to address the issue at plenary, a lot of them pushing for tenure elongation, because that was the word in the constitutional amendment at that time, were basically justifying the matter around the need for Chief Olusegun Obasanjo then as president to continue his good work. You understand what I'm saying? And the fact that, look, we missed it. Some of those things we are still trying to solve now. We can no longer solve them. We can no longer even amend our constitution to amend those of resource control. Was also one. It's a several beautiful idea by the Fifth National Assembly. Intellectuals, people of thought that said that, look, there were 57 PhD tenure elongation, which is now called third term. He didn't want it at that time. He didn't even condemn it. He said, no, don't do this. It's not going to happen under me.
It's in the past. It's in the past. All things are past.
Anybody dead or alive can say I discussed it with them. Must you discuss it with them? That
Well, anyway.
And the fact that Baba did not get it up was not because, look, it was just that look at that, and that's what is missing now. The reason why that thing did not throw everything out, because it was too even risky. You know, what happened at that time? The Move just threw everything away. Discussing it is what's going to give them the opportunity to slip it in and make it happen. So Baba should not come and be again.
Anyways,
and he has the right to deny. You don't know. And that he didn't get it was because they can't do that to all these ones. These were bad people we have. You know, they even told us this so far is coming from the president who approve it. These ones that we have now, this 10th assembly.
Spoke about Nigeria's democracy even facing collapse without IND. Speaking about corruption and all of that, on how they want to uphold transparency, a broader push for accountability and good governance, which they rolled out on their official X handle yesterday. The ability, even when high-profile individuals engage in corruption, that it can be barred from. I just definitely wanted to say that reactions have been trailing after that. You know, people were doing that.
It become very empty. And how he's struggling to explain how his wife to explain what it concern me. But you know, for the US, I will appeal to the US for us.
All the things that have been returned. Please. Back
so
to the
like, this idea of not needing visa is for me. US has the right to prostitute them because money laundering again is solution. Look at Ibori. Ibori was here. We tried him for years. Nothing. Until when he's a bit tolerant of these things. How many cases do we have in court? Right. No resolution.
Right. Someone even raised the issue of this court thing also about the issue.
They should give them visa. Anyway. If they come that they need visa, we are begging the U.S. embassy. Please give them the visa.
Anyway, stand jail. Actually, the Guardian is reporting that enroll children in school or will be jail.
I like that.
And also, constitutional in Edo local government as acting chairman receive impeachment notice. That's also in the Guardian. And the comprehensive report in the power sector about that on tariff and also the debts. You know, we have